It looks like the iPhone 12 is gonna smash through any previous records when it comes to video recording. And this is actually more impressive considering the latest leaks that we get about the hardware, telling us that actually the camera bump on the back isn't going to get too much bigger to what we have in the iPhone 11 series, specifically the Pro and Pro Max. But actually these capabilities aren't really to do with the camera hardware as such, but actually to do with the A14 chipset, which at this point in time is looking pretty powerful. It looks like Apple's brand new chipset, the A14, is going to be extremely powerful when it comes to video recording. And as we know, the A14 is going to be a 5nm chipset, pretty much the first 5nm chip from a flagship brand. And with this new manufacturing process comes these specs. So as we've heard from a few different sources now, it looks like the iPhone 12 series could support 240 and 120 frames per second slow motion. That isn't anything different. They support that right now, but the difference comes in the resolution. They can now support 4K video recording at not only 120, but also 240 frames a second. This is something absolutely massive for smartphone video. So right now, even if you look at the most expensive DSLR cameras, mirrorless cameras, even from Sony, who really do go all out when it comes to resolution, absolutely nothing can record 240 frames a second in real 4K resolution. Consumer cameras just don't have this as a spec, and even with smartphones, nothing is topping out at 4K resolution and 240 frames a second. 4K resolution is 3840 by 2160 pixels, and it is actually 4 times the resolution of Full HD, what we call 1080p, hence the name 4K. And with 240 frames a second, you're recording as many as 10 times the amount of frames per second than, for example, the frame rate which is normally recorded in, which is 24 frames a second, or 8 times more than 30 frames a second. So you're getting way more frames per second and way more resolution. The amount of data that has to go through the chipset in this case is extraordinary. Also, this may give us some insight into what Apple are doing with the new models, because we did hear rumors before that they were looking at some new image sensors, specifically for the Pro and Pro Max. It's keeping them at 12 megapixels, but maybe some new sensors that had some improved hardware. So the new sensors and the A14 chipset working together may provide us with all the necessary hardware to actually pull it off. In reality, not many of us use slow motion anyway, that is for sure. But it does tell us, one, the power of the A14, which is obviously pretty good. And two, also just the improvements all around that is going to come in video recording and with all of the other photo and video improvements that are going to come from this new chipset. As we know, the ISP, or the image signal processor, should obviously clearly be getting a nice jump from what we've seen previously, and we therefore should expect some big improvements in Apple's Deep Fusion as well, now that they've introduced it for a while, hardware and software working together to give us some better images overall. As with all rumors, we'll have to wait and see if it actually comes, but if the chipset is capable of this, there's a high probability that it will come to the finished product, as Apple designs the chipset specifically for iPhones, and it wouldn't build in features to a chipset that it wouldn't give to the actual finished product. That would be a complete waste of time. So the rumors looking good for some really good quality slow motion. And we get more news about Apple leaving out the charger from the iPhone 12 box. And actually, the more I think about this, the more I think this is overall actually a good idea, as long as the product prices reflect it and they actually do shave a bit off the price. Then it's your choice whether you want to buy the charger or not. Well, according to Love to Dream, who's been pretty accurate on a lot of different Apple leaks, it looks like it's not just the iPhone 12 models, but even going forward, maybe the iPhone SE would actually change, and no chargers in the box with a new box style. So definitely not the big box that we're getting now, but just a much thinner type of envelope design. Obviously, you just really need to put the cardboard around the phone. Anyway, that's it for your iPhone news today. Some pretty cool video specs, I would say, overall. Let me know what you think about the possibility in the comments for sure. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.